Hey guys, it's Chef Dean Max. Today we're going to do luau pig. I just got back from Hawaii and I'm super excited to show you how traditional Hawaiians do a luau pig. We're not going to do it in the ground, we're going to do it in this pressure cooker, but a lot of you guys have these kind of pressure pots at home and stuff, so we're going to use it today. So pull it out, brush the dust off, come back and see me. Click subscribe if you're not doing that already. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video and ring that bell and I'll send you what stuff I have new coming up, okay? So I'll see you back in a second. Okay, you guys. Today, we're gonna do this luau pig. I mean, like I said, I just got back from Hawaii. I'm super excited to make this at home. I've got beautiful taro leaves here. Now, if you have trouble finding these, you can probably get these from like maybe an Indian or an Asian grocery store by your house. They would have what they call luau leaf, which is the actual taro leaf itself. Has to be cooked for a long time. It's got to be steamed for at least 40 minutes or so to get it tender and make it like really safe to eat. But it's got such a great flavor that it gives to the pork. So what I have here, you guys can see, is just some, I've got some diced up pork chunks, and I'm going to actually coat those with a little salt and pepper. Now, if you wanted to brine these ahead of time, you could do that. You could cover them in water, put a couple tablespoons of salt and a tablespoon of sugar, right? And if you want to throw a few garlic cloves in there, you could do that too. You know, a lot of times when you're out there in a kind of a taro patch or a Kalo patch, is the Hawaiian name for it, they just have the pigs there. They dice them up, put them in this, and go on their way. And they just put a little salt on it. So they'll have sometimes a lot of different sea salts that they can harvest. Sometimes they have lava salt. So here I'm just going to use a nice pink, you can see this beautiful pink sea salt that I have. I'm going to put a nice generous tablespoon of salt on there, right? And then I'm going to toss this together in a second. I don't want to toss it up there just yet because I want to play with my leaf here for a second. So I'll move this right here. And for that pork, now you could use pork shoulder. If you use the pork loin, that's going to be leaner, so I would cook it for less. I mean, you really would need to cook that less time. I like to cook this longer. And so let's do it with like either a shoulder, or you could even use a belly if you wanted to use a whole belly cut. Not a bacon though, okay? You don't want it already salted and already smoked or anything. You just want a raw belly or a raw shoulder, okay? Or maybe even some leg cuts certain leg cuts would be fine. But I would stick to shoulder at home if I were you. It'd be easy to find, okay? And then we're gonna take these leaves and we're gonna lay probably a bunch of them. You see how beautiful those are? Gorgeous leaves, right? So I'm gonna lay a bunch of them like here, maybe like 5. What's gonna happen with this is these leaves are gonna break down over this long time of pressure cooking, and they're gonna become soft, just kind of like cooked down spinach becomes soft and very easy to eat, very pliable, right? Very tender. And that's what we want. Now, if you don't have this and you wanted to use, you could use cabbage leaves, big cabbage leaves. You could use probably kale. If you had large kale leaves, you could use those too. But nothing's gonna replace the flavor of this. So what I wanna do now is I'm gonna kind of toss my bacon and peppercorns around in there, right? And I'm gonna take a nice handful of my pork and stick it in the middle of that. So you can see I've got a nice bit of pork in there, right? Now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take one side in like this. Okay, so after you kind of press this left side in and then you push the right side in, you just basically with your thumb fold that outsides in like this and hold it together. You see how that makes this nice little package? And that's what we're going to be looking to do. Now I've got some banana leaf here. So there's banana leaf. If you don't have this, just use foil. But I have this in my yard, so I just cut banana leaves. You know, in Hawaii they would use a tea leaf, a green tea leaf, but I don't have any around where I live. So I'm going to take one leaf that way, one leaf this way, and I'm going to stick my package in here, and I'm going to fold it up. Now, why are we wrapping this thing in 2 leaves? Well, because the Kalo leaf or the luau leaf will actually break down. So it's going to break down like spinach. When you'll see it later when it's cooked with the pork, it's going to look like kind of a cooked down green wrapped around pork and stuff, and it's going to be very tender. But this banana leaf will not get tender. It won't get tender at all. So you can see when I wrap this here, and now I put some in my pot already. But you would just put this. If you don't have one of these, just stick this in a big stock pot that you have with a steaming grate on it, all right? Or if you have a steaming basket, that's even better, right? So you put this in the steaming basket, and you're gonna wanna steam it for probably about an hour. Now, if you have one of these pressure cookers, you can do it in around 35 to 45 minutes, okay? And that zone is gonna be fine. Again, it's pork shoulder or pork belly, so we're not going to overcook it. There's a lot of fat on that. We really want it to cook for a long time and break down and become super tender. So we're going to open this up and see what it looks like down the line. So I'll see you guys back in a little bit. My Kalo, which is taro root, this is what they call the corn, which is the bottom root part that's been cooked. It's got really a heavy texture on the outside. They cooked that first for about 45 minutes. Take it out, clean it, quarter it, and that's how you can get it like this frozen in your grocery store. So ask them for it. So it's called Kalo or taro root, and it's already been cooked from Hawaii. So really nice. And then this, we're gonna make a poi out of this. It's gonna go with our traditional luau dish, which is our luau leaves, which is the leaf of this plant, right? That we're gonna wrap the pork in, and we're gonna cook it. It's gonna be amazing. See you in a second. Okay, you guys. While my pork goes, I've got myself kind of a mallet. This is makeshift. Now, we're going to make a little poi here. We're going to pound a little poi. So I've got some steamed chunks of cooked taro root here. Now what you would do is you can buy the taro root in the frozen section of your grocery store. Look for Hawaiian taro root. It's really nice. And it's already been cooked. Normally the outside of this is dark like a potato. So imagine this potato. They cook it or steam it in water, and then they clean the outer portion of it, the skin part off, and you end up with these kind of chunks that have already been cooked. And then they've been usually frozen, and then from there, you could just steam them quickly to warm them up to get them to this point to make our poi. And I've got some water here, and I'm gonna do is just smash it down. I've got my water on this, and this poi, we want to add a little bit of water to it as we're going, but not too much. So I want to add a little bit of water, and I'm going to press it down. Now, this is totally a makeshift version of this and then I use kind of this piece here, kind of to like move it around. So I'm going to add a little bit of water, and I'm going to smash my poi down. If you had a board and like a kind of what they call a poi pounder, which is it's really like a lava rock that's been carved into a certain kind of unique shape that makes it easy for pounding poi. But what we're looking to do is you're looking for that like kind of that nice texture of the poi to be a little bit, I don't want to use the word gummy because it's not gummy. It's really like a smooth texture that has kind of I don't know how to describe it. But it's good, and it's like you can see my poi here. Like this is, I'm going to put a little bit of moisture on there, and then I'm going to wet my pounding device here, and then I'm just going to pound it all the way through and smash it, and then I'm just going to take that, and I'm going to take my beautiful, so I use a nice board like this. You have a cutting board at home, a big cutting board, you can use that, right? I'm going to use this to fold this in, and then we're just going to take a little bit of warm water here, and that water keeps it from sticking to your hands, right? And what you want is, you don't want to add so much water where this is kind of waterlogged. Now, when they pound poi out in the taro fields, they usually will take the poi and leave it pretty thick, and then they just leave it in their kitchen, and it lasts for a while, which is I found super unique. That the starch would last for up to a month. So back in the day, the Hawaiians could go out on these journeys on their boats, and they would have this kind of cooked taro in their it like wrapped in a banana leaf and or a tea leaf, and they could just use that to eat, right? They could probably spear some fish, and then this gave them, this is starch, so it gave them a lot of energy, you know, and it was probably a nice way to carry food, you know, similar to how, you know, the North Americans back in the day, you know, the cowboys and all that would use beef jerky and things like that, and they used salted fish and they used taro root. So this pounded taro is a huge kind of ritualistic and I guess kind of their religion, so to speak, in Hawaii. It's very spiritual to them. The origin of poi and the pounding of poi. So right now I'm just turning that upside down and doing this terrible thing, right? But it's my it's your kind of this is what we call making do with what you have, right? So what they did at that time was they used stones and boards that they used because it's what they had. And what you're looking for is the poi to be kind of smooth. It's not chewy. It's super smooth and tender. It's got a really nice flavor to it. And from that, we have this beautiful poi. And mine, you know, all the little pieces, I mean, it's pretty smooth. Now, from that point, you can add the water depending on how loose you want it. So I'm gonna go, well, that thing just stopped. So it's got to cool, because again, it's under pressure. So we'll come back when that's cooled down and we'll take a look at it, see how our pork's doing, and our poi is ready. It's nice and smooth. I like it a little firmer like this, but you can go thinner by just adding more water to that and cutting this with water, right? So this is warm water. So we have the steamed taro with a little bit of warm water like this, and this is going to be nice. Now, if you want it looser, you could put it in a bowl and pour more warm water on it, and you can make it looser, maybe soft as like a mashed potato, very soft mashed potato if you want. It almost has the texture of a soft mashed potato at this point. So I'm going to leave it here. I want to taste it. And that's what you do, just pull it and taste it. Excuse me. It's very tender. It's got a nice flavor. Again, very similar to what you're going to feel with a potato, but better. Whoa! The power of the poi. Okay, there it is. Again, I'm going to thin this out a little bit more as I get closer to this, and we'll have that warm poi, that slightly warm poi with this pork and kalo leaf, this luau leaf, and it's going to be really nice. So, be back in a second. Okay, guys, it's gone off. It's cooked. I've let it kind of cool down. Now, if your 30 some minutes are done, 35 minutes are done, if you're pressure cooking it, and you guys already know how to use your pressure cooker, but you would push this button down to release that. Now, if it stops cooking, you let it wait for like 10 minutes, the steam will slowly escape on its own. It'll cool down on its own. So with this, I just pop it open, and you can see I've got a lot of liquid in there. And the reason I have a lot of liquid in there is because I'm using that belly. So that belly has a lot of fat in it too, right? That fat renders off, and there's really nowhere for that water to escape until we let the steam out in the end, right? If we let it out. So this broth in here, it's actually pretty nice, right? Because you got the flavor of the luau leaf, and you've got the flavor of the pork all cooked in there together. So with this, what I'm going to do is you can see I'm just going to flip it actually out. This is that grate that I was talking to you about. See, like that. Now, if you look at the leaf here, this banana leaf is still tough. You wouldn't want to eat that, right? But when you peel it off, right? When you peel it back, you've got beautiful pork in there. Now look at that. Now see this luau leaf? That's very tender. Look at that. See how it's broken all apart, right? And we've got that beautiful pork in there like this. So with this, I just want to stick this pork on our plate here with that beautiful leaf like that. You see how it's really soft? Whoops. So I've got my pork here. And I just take this leaf. So each one of these packages is like, I would say, probably 3 people. And then the pork, we're going to test it too. And it should be nice and tender, which this is. You can see, I'm like, tender. I think that the leaf itself is very beautiful flavor. And then with that, I'm going to take a big scoop of my my poi here, put that on the side. And this, I mean, I know my Uncle Earl out there in Hawaii, he's taught me how to pound the poi. I mean, I know it was kind of tough trying to do it with the mallet, but you know, I had to show people how to makeshift at home, and that's a big key in makeshifting at home. Make sure you do this and try this. It's because it's a really fun dish to do. But this poi, it has great flavor. There's still a couple little chunks in there, which is great. That's how I like it. Some people like it ultra smooth, but I don't. I actually like to have that smooth with a bite of texture. And the kalo leaf, the pork, it's an amazing dish. It's Hawaiian tradition. Normally they would bury this in the ground outside, and they would let this cook for a long time over a low heat, and it would be amazing. So try it at home. I mean, it's pretty simple to make. Kind of simple to make. Not simple, I guess, but you can make these flavors easily. If you have one of these pressure cookers, try in the pressure cooker. And then try this poi. You can buy it, like I said, in the frozen section already cooked. So there's really not a lot to do to it. Steam it, pound it, make it the texture that you want it. Everybody likes it a different texture. Some people like a little more water in it, make it smoother. Some people like it thicker. So it's really up to you. So try it at home. I hope you like it. Mahalo. And see you back soon in the kitchen. I'm Chef Dean Max.